It's one of those moments. Yeah, God bumps. I think it's kind of... Dr. Walker once said that the biggest problem for a minister of New Thought is that well, there are a lot, but the biggest problem for a minister of New Thought is that you will spend a lifetime trying to describe something that is indescribable. You will spend an entire life looking for words to define something that defies words. And that's really what this month I want it to be about. The idea of I am, you are, we be. And I so am grateful, so grateful to you for ending that way. I am. To be willing to walk this earth as the I am. And then to be willing to look in a mirror and consciously and emphatically and deeply say you are to what you are seeing, no matter what you are seeing. And then to walk this planet saying we be to no matter what is going on, to no matter what is happening, no matter what the behavior is. Kevin and I had lunch the other day at the New Skinny Kitchen, which is just amazing. And we went and sat at a table that literally, oh, thank you, Karen, inches from us were 3 homeless young adults that looked very homeless. And they were sitting there and they had signs. And we had a wall between us. And I sat there and I was like, there was a part of me that really felt sad, not sad, I don't use my energy that way, but that was conscious of what they were living and what they were going through. There was a part of me that was a little annoyed. I'm being very transparent here. And then there was a part of me that noticed that the wall between us was not just the wall that they built between us, but the wall in my mind. And that my job was to live in the we be, even in that moment. And that's our job, isn't it? That's what I want this month to be about, and then every month after that to be about. The I am, we are, we be. I am, you are, we be. For myself, for what I see, and then for how I live my life. So the lyrics in this song are so provocative. I'm going to ask you a question. So, I am. So many things come after I am. So I wanted to ask you, and I'm literally going to ask you, when someone says to you, who are you? You say, I am. What do you say? Give me some of the things you say when you say, I am. Powerful. I am powerful. Okay.
God.
I am God. Really? How do your friends take that?
They're all gods too.
Exactly. Good. Then you are traveling in the right company. But most of the time we say, I am a minister. I am a doctor. What else do you say? I am what? I'm an actress. I'm a daughter. I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm an Olympian. I always say that when they ask me about you. I mean, when you win the silver in the Olympics, you're an Olympian. I think if you get there, you're an Olympian. I think if you try, you're an Olympian. I think if it's in your consciousness, you're an Olympian. So what else? Peggy, what do you say? I am what? When people say, "What? Who are you?" I'm a designer. Okay, Jamie? No, you say I'm a chef. I'm a chef. I've heard you 1,000 times. I'm a brilliant chef. We identify ourselves, and then you also say that, I'm sure. We identify ourselves. Marcy, what do you say?
It actually depends on who asked the question, sorry.
Okay.
I'm an office manager.
I am an office manager. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a daughter. Okay, you're all those things, and you are a great friend. So I am. I am means so many things, but really, it only means one thing. And that's the thing that we need to drop into, that we're willing to walk this planet as the I am. You know, so many of these lyrics, I'm not the names you say. I love this. I'm not the roles I play. How many of you are still playing roles in your life? Right? I know. And here's the thing. Do you know when you're playing them? You do, don't you? Can you stop when that happens? Sometimes you're just on a roll. And that character comes in on a roll. Do you get that? That was totally planned. So, sometimes, though, we really do. We just get into the energy of it, and all of a sudden, oh my God, this is what I am. And sometimes when I'm in that mode, and I'm playing out some role, there's a voice in me saying, stop, 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 stop! And I still keep going. Anybody else relate? And we just keep going. And all it really takes is that, give yourself a second and drop. Give yourself a second and drop. I teach this in CPR, that idea of if someone lights you on fire, your job is to drop and roll, right? I mean, stop, drop, and roll. I mean, I hope no one's been lit on fire. Anybody been lit? I'm sure you've all been lit, but have you all been lit on fire, right? So the idea is to stop, don't run, the oxygen helps it, and don't keep moving through your life in these rolls because the oxygen is just going to make it worse. Drop and roll, meaning, drop and roll, meaning just give yourself the opportunity to shake it off. Shake off these roles that you're playing. Shake off all these things that you think you are. Even father, mother, daughter. There are moments when I'm just like, I am not a father today. I am God. I am God the Father. I am God the Son. And I am God the Holy Everything. I mean, that's the thing. And so this song, the title of my talk today is called The Everything. The Everything. Because, I mean, that's what he says here, you know, it's the everything. And if we're going to go deep, then we have to go deep with everything. Not just on Sunday spiritually, not just when we hear such a channel for the divine in Bob, not just when we hear Karen Mitchell sing and Barbara Shane sing in this holy room and we're reminded where we are. Not just in those moments, but everywhere, the everything. Everything in our life has to be the I am. Everything. Everything. That's what it means to go deep. Because for me, you know, I love acronyms. For me, deep means divine energy eternally pulsating. I work hard on these. I mean, think about this. Divine energy eternally pulsating. You can't stop. You can't stop. I think Alan Carr had it right with You Can't Stop the Music. Old reference. Who got that reference? I know how old you are. So, or you seem to somehow like the 70s. Right? You cannot stop the pulsating energy of the universe moving through you. You just can't. But you can get caught up in energies that's not really who you are. You can get caught up in anger. You can get caught up in lack. You can get caught up in fear. You can get caught up in a lot of energies. It's not who you are, but it is all God. It is all God. And so you get to choose them. You can choose lack. You can choose fear. You can choose worry. You can choose any one of these plethora of roles to step into, or you can drop into the truth. Here's the truth. And then you see it a different way. You just see things a different way. So, I had this great experience yesterday. I got up very, very early, and Kevin and I were here at 7:30 to do gardening, Bonnie. And so we trimmed all the trees out back, and it was really funny because Kevin, I said to him before we started, I said, let's just agree that we're probably going to trim our trees differently. So that we don't get into the energy of argument over how the trees should be. I'm about to get there. So I set it up beautifully for myself, knowing that I would definitely try to control how he trimmed the trees. So I just didn't watch. I was like, I'm not going to watch him do the first tree. I shouldn't have let him do the one closest to the theater, but I let him do the first tree. And then I went back to the back door. So I'm like painstakingly cutting each little branch and talking to them. I'm just cutting your hair. I'm doing this thing to my tree, which ended up being a nice Edward Scissorhands circle. And I step off the ladder and I look over, and Kevin has given it a Floyd's barbershop cut. Kevin has just chop, 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 chop. And I was like, So I walked over, and this is what I'm talking about, these roles we play, control freak. So I'm walking over, and everything about me saying, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. I said, honey, I said, could you have made that a little rounder? And he just looked at me and went, no. And then he said, in fact, yours doesn't even look like you touched it. And I was like, breathe. We have agreed that this is going to be different for the two of us. Now, the truth is, I'm sure you all can't wait to leave here and go look at those trees. The truth is that Kevin's tree really looked amazing once I got over my stupid self. His tree really looked amazing, and I ended up having to say to him, well, just take a little more off of mine. Go down to mine and just chop a little bit off of mine. And then I just occupied myself with that which he would not have anything to do with, which is the rest of the gardening. So I was there from 7:30 in the morning until about 6 o'clock last night. And I went to Home Depot and I bought dirt and I bought new plants. The place next door has a habit of throwing beer cans, and those who drink too much have a habit of letting their bellies go into my roses. So I decided I'd put up little fences with barbed tops, so you really can't sit on it anymore. And then I thought, I'm going to go buy a big, beautiful plant that has spiky things that if you try to get in there, you'll probably get hurt. And I thought, that is the neighborly thing to do. So I did, and you will be able to see those along the front of the building. And as I am working yesterday, as I'm doing this, people are coming by saying, oh my God, this looks so beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And this one guy came by and went, I'm here every weekend. We love to stand here and smoke and have a drink. I said, well, tell everyone that these are very dangerous now, and that if you happen to get too close, it will zap you. And he said, good, that'll stop them from throwing things in there. I was like, and we're done. So I spent all this time, but the reason why I'm telling you this story is that Bonnie and her cohorts that was doing the gardening before, they planted a lot of little aloe bushes, aloe things, which have grown very big and had a lot of babies. So there were 11 of them, but they looked horrible. They were orange and brown because they're not supposed to be in the sun like that. So I decided that in this whole understanding that if I'm going to go deeper, I better start talking to plants. I better start talking to trees. I better start recognizing and honoring every living thing on this planet. And so I decided to take every one of them out and bring them back to my garden, because I did this about 2 weeks ago with one aloe that is now in my garden, no longer brown, but beautifully green and opening, just like so happy to be at my house. So I pulled them all out, took them all home, put them all in my yard yesterday, watered them, put in fertilizer. And this morning when I woke up, I still told Kevin to take a look. They had actually started already turning green. And so happy to have been touched and nurtured by what they are, which is this divine energy eternally pulsating. You get to use that energy if you're conscious of it. Now, if I can do that to an aloe plant, just think how much I can do to my own body, to myself. And what's one of the funnier things is that the aloe plant, I have a gorgeous aloe plant I've had for 18 years that is enormous, sits right outside our bedroom. And this morning when I was out meditating, I walked by and I went, did you notice I brought your whole family to visit? And I swear it kind of just went, thank you. But I did. I was like, you are surrounded by aloes now. Look, I brought your whole ancestry, and they're all going to grow. So this whole idea of dropping deeper. When you tell yourself, I will drop deeper, no matter what, I will get everything out of my way and drop deeper. Someone asked me this week, well, how do I said, what's your spiritual practice? Most people, when I say, what is your spiritual practice? Do you know what their answer is? I don't have one. I go to church on Sundays. Folks, that's not a spiritual practice. That is a fun time. Which is what spiritual practice is. But you got to do it more than just on Sunday morning. So I just said to this person, just get up and spend 10 or 15 minutes meditating. And that could be walking your neighborhood. It can be staring at a plant. It can be listening to some beautiful music. It doesn't matter what it is. Give yourself that moment to drop deep, to go deeper. And then stay there as you step into your day. And allow that to inform how you react and act within this beautiful world. So on Thursday, it was Jack's 95th birthday, right? And I love that Cooper Neal brought him a cake that said 95 and still hot. If you're on my Facebook page, you saw that. So the other thing Cooper did that night, Cooper Neal is Dr. David Walker's husband of many, many, many years. And Cooper brought me a book that David Walker had, and it's a 1929 edition of a William James book that is underlined and written in. I mean, David Walker just devoured that book. And to get for me, from Cooper, a lesson from my mentor who passed away 7 years ago, that's just amazing. Just amazing. But he also gave me something else, because in the book was a piece of paper which David wrote something on. And so I want to tell you what it said. Basically, it said this: if I see you as someone who is less God, or if I see someone who I think is more God than me, then I have just diminished the idea of God. And I'm reading this thinking, oh my God, if he had stayed with us longer, he would be on the exact same page I'm on. Not shocking, since he taught me everything I know until I left him and decided to start thinking on my own. And Reverend Jonathan, same thing. Rita, everybody around here, as we learn and grow, we all take it and move with it and grow it. And then in the next paragraph, he said, it is my mission in life, from this day forward, to take what I know and make sure everyone I meet knows it too. That we are the presence of God. We are the energy of God, because that's what we are. The only thing missing from this piece of paper were those 3 words, I am God. And I know that David Walker would have gotten there by now. I know he would have. And so this month, you have the opportunity to allow yourself to literally drop deep into an understanding of who you are, so much so that when you run into every single person that you meet, you have the opportunity to remember who they are in that moment, to remember who you are in that moment. And if you find yourself about to tell your spouse he or she should be doing something differently, first of all, don't. It's just not a pleasant experience. But take a breath first and just ask yourself, what am I about to accomplish? Am I allowing for people to express themselves the way they need to express themselves? And if they need to express themselves by traveling the country and being homeless and playing a guitar, sitting at a tree on Lancashire Boulevard, that's God expressing itself perfectly. And if they need to be a father or a daughter, if they need to be someone who's making their transition, that's God expressing itself perfectly. We have to stop thinking that there are states of being that are less than. As Dr. Walker said, the moment I think something is less than God, I have just diminished God. And I've diminished myself. If I know me to be God, I don't want to walk around this world as a feather in the wind, and when it takes me this way, I go that way, and this way, it goes that way. No, I want to be an aloe plant, grounded in who I am, knowing that I have the consciousness of, I am prayed up enough to know that if I turn brown, some spiritual being who understands what life is will come along, pull me out, and put me down where I belong. That's who we can be. But we have to first be it with ourselves. We have to be willing to literally drop deep into the I am and not be about all the things that make up the being. Francesca said it this morning in the meditation. It's an Ernest Holmes quote. Perfect God, perfect man, perfect being. And I have my own take on that, as I'm sure you would suspect I would. I don't say perfect God, perfect man, perfect being. I say perfect God, perfect man being perfect God. Because that's who I am. That's who you are. That's who we are. And that we includes everyone on this planet. So here we go, August 2015, coming clean, washing away all the stuff, and allowing ourselves to see ourselves as we truly are. And when we do that, we'll be able to see every single person, every experience, every single creature, every single blade of grass or drop of ocean as that which is divine energy, eternally pulsating. Namaste.